Oh, there she is right now. I'm Anthony Costura. I'm one of the anchors here with the KOIN 6 and Portland CW. And already on the screen here is Alicia Sullivan. You probably know her from her work with the Portland Winter Light Festival. Alicia, thanks for being on the program.
Thank you so much for having me.
You have a kind of a lot of titles because we're talking about the Portland Winter Light Festival, but there's also some other work and organizations that kind of collaborate to put that on. Can you kind of share a little bit about what goes into it?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am the executive director of a nonprofit called the Willamette Light Brigade. We are the nonprofit behind the Portland Winter Light Festival, which is coming right up. And we've been around for nearly 40 years, working to light Portland's bridges in color and enhance Portland's nighttime identity through art and lighting.
So, how does one get into that kind of position? Because for 40 years, I mean, at this point, it's a staple, I think, for a lot of folks. They look forward to it. Obviously, right now, we're kind of in the crux of the holidays. But once kind of the glitz and the glamour, so to speak, of the holidays goes away, then everyone has something to look forward to in February. And so, how did you kind of get into this work, and what was the draw for you?
Well, I have certainly not been there for the whole 40 years. But I love art and I have a background in art and I love, the idea of creating an experience and transforming our city through art. And particularly bringing some kind of joy and levity to a time of year when it's very dark. I'm not the founder of the Portland Winter Light Festival. We have a number of founders who started the vision, and I had the pleasure of coming in 3 years in. And so we've been doing the festival for going on 11 years now.
Yeah, it's a long time. And so, as you said, you're really passionate about art and really kind of lighting up the city. And as I mentioned earlier, it really is a staple. I think so many people look forward to it every year, especially because in the Northwest, the winters can be a little rough. Can you tell us a little bit about this year's theme and kind of the thought behind it and kind of the process to select a theme?
Absolutely. Yeah, so every year we have a theme, and our creative director, Chris Herring, who's also one of our founders, comes up with a theme. We do work collaboratively on it. This year, the theme is all the little things. And it's kind of about, the small things that make up the larger whole. I think that it's sort of reflective of where we are in our city in the moment. Um, it is all these small efforts and gestures, small businesses and artists and makers that kind of make up the vibrant fabric of our city. So artists will be responding to that idea of all the little things in lots and lots of different ways. Some of them will be creating pieces that are made up of tiny parts, and some of them will be creating other types of things, and they'll be responding to the theme in their own way.
I like that. Kind of on a personal note here, what does that mean to you? Like, where do you think the city is right now? Obviously, the last couple years have been transformative. I think we're in a bit of transition. And so, yeah, as someone who's been in Portland for a little bit of time, what does that mean to you?
Ooh, that's a fun question. I think I have a very strong lens in that art has an important role to play in where we're going and visioning the future of our city. I think there's so much about creative identity in our community. So many of us, whether we're making something for work or we're making something for play, or we're into culinary expression, like there's so much creativity in our community, and I think that it has a really strong role to play in the future of where we want to go, and we want what we want it to look like here. And I
Yeah.
think that this festival is evidence that there's an appetite for art, and that it's an important part.
Yeah, I think that's something that the city does really well, and of course all the surrounding areas too. But it's when there's an event like this and there's an opportunity to support not just artists, but you're talking about, the culinary arts too, and local businesses and everything that goes into making something really kind of special. I think it's fun to see so many people turn out, and I'm hoping that will be the case this year as well. Can you tell me a little bit about the process? Because I imagine you all have been working on this probably since last year. Walk me through like how you find the artists and just try to plan everything and piecing it together.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we often joke when we close one year, we often joke that we're 3 months late for the following year,
Yeah.
which sort of ends up being true. But yeah, so we have an open call for art that opens in the summer, actually. And so we put a call out. We say, hey, folks, what have you got? What do you want to make? What are you working on? And people apply to be part of the Light Festival. Our curatorial team also travels around looking at other festivals and, connecting with artists in the region, artists that are national and international as well. So we have this full call, and then we go through every single piece. We accept the ones that are the right fit, and frankly, the ones that we can cover the costs of bringing. We pay our artists to be at the festival. And we're committed to supporting the creative community in that way. And then they say yes. And now they're making the pieces and they have committed to doing it. So there's so much like trial and error and experimentation and process that's totally unseen. Right now, people are like in their studios, like double checking to see if something's going to work out. It's a lot of that process behind the scenes. And then we work to coordinate everything, and it's kind of like a big game of Tetris with art. So we put art in these big anchor locations that are our live event sites, but then we also place art in empty retail spaces, in hotel lobbies, business districts throughout Portland. So it's kind of like a game of Tetris or something with placing art and finding the right fit. A piece can go in a window here, but the same piece won't work over here. So it's a lot of that process. And that's what we're working on right now.
Yeah. You mentioned that a lot of it is unseen. I'm curious to know, like, do you get kind of like a VIP? Like, are you able to see it before? Or is it kind of a surprise for you, just like it is for everybody else?
Oh, that's a fun question. It's kind of a surprise for me. Some of the pieces have great photos and they've, existed in the world or been shown before. But some of them are sketches and concepts, design ideas, and artists have a vast array of how they present those ideas. Like we literally get like sketches on a napkin sometimes,
Oh, wow.
and it turns into the most incredible art installation. And then there's people who are like using computer design stuff and they're very professional. So it's like a real gamut of what you can expect to see. There's always something that is totally unexpectedly like the best in show. I think there's always these like ringers that come in and you would never have known how incredible the piece was going to be just based on like the design sketches.
Yeah, that makes me very excited. Just the anticipation, I guess, to see what people come up with and just the whole process, as it were. You were talking a little bit about, I think, working with businesses and fitting all of these pieces like a game of Tetris. I'm curious to know, too, we've heard from so many different organizations over the last few years. Financially, it's really hard for a lot of groups and organizations and nonprofits to carry on and to keep trying, especially in the economy. Are you all dealing with similar challenges, or are you in a pretty good spot? Is there a way that the community can help?
Yeah, I wish I could say that we were, not dealing with those challenges, but I think as a small arts org, we're in the same boat as everyone else. I think that it's a combination of things. People are tightening their belts in lots of ways. Companies are more cautious, generally things are down a little bit, and we're doing our best to make it so that won't be apparent on site, but yeah, we're definitely open. We are, working on donations now. Like individual donations really make a huge difference no matter the size. The event is presented freely to the public, but it is in no way free to produce. It's a huge citywide undertaking with lots of fun things like art that we pay for, but we also pay for, porta potties and
Right.
fencing and permits and security guards and like all of those logistical things. So, yeah, donations from the community really make a huge, huge difference.
Yeah, I think that's well said because I think oftentimes people sometimes forget about those little conveniences, right? Like you need a restroom or you want to be able to walk around and to have something be pedestrian friendly or what have you. If you can, and this is like a totally like off the cuff question, but is there a price tag that comes with this that you're able to share of like the just financial undertaking that it requires?
I can't exactly share a specific number because honestly, we're still working out some of the details.
Sure.
But and it's under $1 million,
Okay.
but not that far under.
Okay.
So yeah,
Roughly.
yeah,
It's a lot.
it's a lot. Projectors and tech and all of that equipment, and honestly, it takes a lot of really talented people to coordinate and produce all of it. So it's a big undertaking.
It
We're
is. Yeah.
we're a small organization, but yeah, it's a huge undertaking.
Yeah. And
And we're a
roughly
fraction of
$1 million is nothing to scoff at either.
No,
It's
and we're a fraction of what it costs to present other festivals, and we
sure.
we make it go really far.
Yeah. Can you talk to me a little bit about volunteers? I imagine that's probably a big part of it. And I'm curious to know, probably for people who are watching, if they're like, you know what, maybe they can't donate financially, but maybe they have time. Is there an opportunity for folks to get involved that way?
Oh my goodness, absolutely. We would not be able to do this without really awesome volunteers. And we need around 450 volunteers to bring the whole thing to life.
Oh, wow.
You can sign up on the website to volunteer. There are really fun shifts to do as well. It's really fun to be on site and to see Portland full of people and families. Like, it's a great time. We have corporate volunteering opportunities. So if you and your company want to get together in a group and volunteer, that's great. I've also seen people do it as like a date night. One of the nights of our festival this year is Valentine's Day. So, come volunteer at the festival for a few hours and then, go get a snack and a drink afterwards with your loved ones. Like it's a good time.
I like that. I like that a lot. I have so many other questions, and I'm like trying to compartmentalize them. I think first, is there a standout memory or a year for you when you think about this festival and people coming out and just all of your hard work, like a circumstance where you're like, wow, I'm really proud of that, or that was really special?
Ooh, um, you know, we we presented the festival in a really sort of a decentralized way through the pandemic. We made a strategic decision in 2021 to move basically the heart of the festival downtown. And we presented a really tiny, kind of abridged version that year. But 2022 was pretty incredible. It's there are lots of specific moments, but it's this feeling of walking around in our city and seeing the streets like full of smiling families and people out filling our place. And it's really powerful. Last year we had this crazy fire breathing dragon on the waterfront.
Yes.
That was amazing. Watching the little kids, the artist was allowing little kids to push the button and the fire was big. And watching like a little 4-year-old girl like push the button and see that explosion of fire come out of the dragon's mouth was really incredible. I will say that the dragon will not be back. We have other pieces that the waterfront though that are going to be pretty outstanding
Well,
for
I'm
this
excited to
year.
see that. Yeah, now that you say that, I like, because KOIN Tower is very close to the waterfront. And I was driving with my two boys in the car and on Nato Parkway. And, one of the times the dragon was breathing the fire. And it was like, oh my gosh. So we took a field trip from KOIN Tower down to the waterfront to see it because they were just so enamored. So that's a great example because there are so many moments like that where you're kind of unsuspecting and then pleasantly surprised.
Yeah. Yeah, and for kids as well. Like it's about, the art is really about a hands-on experience. You can't touch all of it, but most of it has some kind of interactive quality where you can really see yourself or experience the work in a firsthand way. And for some kids, this is the first time they've seen art like this out in the public realm.
Yeah, I think that's well said. You mentioned a few moments ago about this really intentional idea of bringing the exhibit downtown Portland. And since the pandemic, we've done lots of reports about how we're seeing foot traffic downtown anyway, close to pre-pandemic levels. Is that still part of the strategic plan for you all to kind of boost some of that foot traffic downtown and really kind of revitalize the area?
Absolutely. Even before the pandemic and all the conversation around revitalization, invigorating Portland in the winter has always been part of our mission with this festival. Driving people out to compelling them to come and explore the city for the sake of art and creativity has always been part of it. And we've seen measurable increases in foot traffic in February. We're really proud of that because it's not like they're coming out just because it's nice out already. They're coming out because they want to be at our event. And I think that counts for a lot.
Yeah. What kind of conversations go along with that? Are you talking with the city and the county, or is it just you guys saying, like, we want to do this for the city, and so we're going to make it happen?
I think it's a combination. For many years we weren't really on the radar of the city in any way, but we are now, and we do receive support from the Office of Art and Culture, which is a really big deal, and Prosper Portland for their events office. So we do receive support from the city, as well as many other sponsors. But I think that over the last handful of years, it's really become clear that events are important. They're not just a given. And people coming down for those things really makes a difference. We're really committed to having people come down not just to come to the event and then pop back home. We want them to explore, and so we work really hard to curate an art selection that encourages people to actually walk around and go wandering in downtown and in the central city on the east side as well. Like exploring the space.
Yeah. And as you said, I mean, February is a really hard time, not just for people who live here, but for businesses too, really trying to make it through until the nice weather returns and we get more tourists. And so, yeah, that is a huge deal. I am not super familiar if there's another event like this in the country. Are you familiar, or is this kind of so special for us that it's kind of one of a kind deal?
Well, it's very unique. There are a number of other light festivals throughout the world. There are lots of light festivals throughout the world. The biggest and most established ones are in Europe, but they're all over the place. But I think that every festival has a different flavor. There's lots of incredible ones in the U.S. But ours is really unique, I think. We've actually had recently delegations from other festivals in other countries, in Canada and
Oh, that's
Japan
neat.
and other places in the US, kind of traveling here to learn how we're doing what we do. And I think the uniqueness for us comes around, the performances in the street and the engagement with artists that are both well known and also emerging. Like we'll have school groups do a piece and they get to show their piece alongside like an internationally known artist. And that's a very unusual combination. So more and more I'm learning that it isn't actually a lot like other light festivals, but they are all different
Yeah.
in their own ways.
Do a lot of them happen in February or later in the winter, or is that also kind of a Portland specific thing as well?
It is somewhat Portland specific. There's other ones that happen like throughout the winter season. There's one in Vancouver, BC called Lumiere, and but it's like from November until the end of winter.
Oh, wow.
So, it'll be like a number of large art installations that are just up for a longer period of time. And then there's other ones that are in the fall in various cities. But the uniting thing that's interesting is that like many of those are actually started and funded and founded by municipalities in
Oh,
one way
wow.
or another, or their arts council or economic development. So ours is unique in that it's really run by artists, and founded by artists in this community. It's
Yeah.
grown,
Yeah.
yeah, but
I love that. I've long said that I think that the holidays really should be later in the winter because it all happens. It's Thanksgiving and that's still fall. And really, even by the time that we start putting up the Christmas decorations or Hanukkah, that's still very early. And then by the end of December, it's like we have all of January, all of February. So I do love this idea of like the anticipation and something to look forward to and to be out and to just go and experience kind of that sense of community that you were talking about. It's really neat.
yeah, I've actually said the same exact thing. It's just barely winter right now, and here we are. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
so
there's like a
wild.
sadness like when the all the lights go down and it's so dark. Not just because all the lights are gone, but the sunlight itself is also done by about 4:45. I mean, no wonder people struggle with certain emotional and mental things because it's hard. It's a hard season for sure.
Yeah, I hear all the time from people about how much it meant to them, to come out to the festival and connect with other folks during the
Yeah.
dark. And it's dark physically, it's dark a little existentially.
Yes.
It's a complicated time, and we need each
Yeah.
other, and we need play. And yeah,
What a great way to
it's
do
all
it. And that just makes me think of the theme, all the little things. It really is just in those little moments of just connection and just being out and kind of getting to experience all that there is to offer. Last couple questions. You're so calm and collected. I'm curious to know, when do you start getting really frazzled? When do you start running around like a chicken with its head cut off because there's so much to do?
Well, I'm not gonna lie. I've been doing that for the last like month and a half.
Oh,
So
okay.
is the rest of the team. We're definitely in crunch time right now, Nobody
Yeah.
wants to respond to our emails over the holidays, but we're still plugging away working on it. So it's a shot to the finish line now,
Yeah.
We're in it.
And I know you have a family and, your own life, and I'm curious to know how you're able to balance all of that because it's not just this one and done project. As you mentioned, it really is like the whole year. And now, we're on winter break for most folks and there's kind of this pause, I think. Are you able to kind of just take a moment to say, I'm going to focus on this and my family and then come back to it? Or is it all just kind of there ticking in the back of your mind?
It's there.
Sure. I get
I have
that.
a very supportive spouse, though, and
Yeah.
he's happy to be in charge of holiday cheer. 'Cause I'd be happy to like push the holidays off and celebrate them after the festival or
Sure.
some combination of that. But no, it's all supportive, and we often joke like a lot of us on the team are very we've had a lot of production experience. So if you're a production person, you kind of get energy from the process, and
Yeah.
it's really satisfying to have such cyclical work. It really goes straight up, and then it's pretty mellow, for a long time, and that's a really nice way to punctuate the year. And I'm not mad about having a lot to do when it's nasty and raining out.
I don't blame you. I know. And right now we're talking about all this wind that potentially could wreak some havoc. But yeah, I asked that because I think if people do go out, I think it would be nice if people could reflect on just how much time that it takes, not just from the artist, but really from people like yourself who it is a huge undertaking. So hopefully they can be reminded of that, I guess.
Yeah, and it's the artist put so much into it.
Yeah.
It's a labor of love, absolutely, and we're small, and we feel and look big, but we're a small team, and there's a lot of heart that goes into this.
Yeah, I think that's really well said. Remind us of the dates. If people want to go and check it out, they want to make plans, maybe get a hotel, make dinner reservations. What do they need to know?
So we're going to open on February 6th. The event goes from the 6th through the 14th. And major live sites and the live events, performances, and stuff like that are open on the 6th and 7th and the 13th and 14th of February. And yeah, we've got lots of hotel partners who are really knowledgeable about the festival. If you want to be a tourist in your own city or come visit, bring your friends. It's going to be a lot of fun this year. We've got the Glow Bar open
Oh,
again
that's
by
fun.
popular demand.
Yes.
Lots of highlights that we're going to be dropping in the next few weeks.
Yeah, and give us your website just so if people want to follow along, and we'll put it on coin.com as well. What's the best way for them to follow?
It's pdxwlf.com. That's our website.
Okay, sounds great. I think that does it for me in terms of questions that I have, Alicia. Is there anything else that you think we should know or that you'd like to add?
Um, I don't think so. Volunteer if you
Yeah.
can give, that would be wonderful. And thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so fun. I always knew, like, there's just, like, this is the best part of the job, right? When you like something in the city or you admire some kind of work, and then you kind of get to, like, peek behind the curtain a little bit to see all the planning and the process and how people can get involved too, because I think that's really important. So, thank you. Really appreciate your time, and we'll see you in February. Very excited.
Yeah, see you in February. Thanks
Okay.
for having me.
Thank you. All right. Well, that does it for this episode of Coin Conversations. I'm Anthony Costura. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time.